Here, this might look familiar. We just talked about the first set of this problem earlier. How do we assign direct materials, indirect materials, and how do we understand it from this T account? So the same numbers here. Remember we talked about materials, labor. Continuing on that, how do we determine, based on looking at these T accounts, what's the actual number of indirect costs, manufacturing overhead? And what is the portion that is allocated? All the information is here in the T account. Okay, you just need to pick the ones that answers these questions. Try? Okay, what's the actual cost of, and you got it from adding up all the manufacturing debit side. 3,400, 12,000, 36,500, and you said 51,900, the actual cost, right? Okay, so we want to try the allocated ones. 53,900 because it's on the credit side, right? So if it's on the credit side, you reduce manufacturing overhead account, and you can see that it has been transferred to work in process, the left-hand side. So work in process now is completed since it has direct materials, direct labor, and the indirect costs assigned to it. So yes, this would be 53,900. Over allocated, how do you know it's over? Credit side is higher than the debit side. Okay, so credit side is the allocation amount. If it's higher than the actual amount that occurred, then it's over allocation. You assign too much cost to each job altogether. Okay, if it's under allocation, that will be a case of flipping the numbers. You have too less on the credit side, too much on the debit side. Okay, questions so far? So now if you look at work in process inventory T account, left-hand side is 3 categories. So the right-hand side would be understanding what's the cost that actually turns into finished goods. Okay, so we use this much cost, materials, labor, indirect costs, but some portion of it may be just halfway done. Yes? Say your question again. If it's over allocated, that means this is a case of over allocation. So. Mm-hmm. We'll be adjusting cost of goods sold at the end altogether. Okay, because at the end the goods transfers to cost of goods sold when it starts to being sold to customer. So we just directly adjust the very last category. Okay. Going a little bit ahead. Okay, so now let's just directly go into the remaining entries. So when we actually finish the goods, what happens? And then at the end, how do we adjust the differences, the